Hello, guys, and thank you for coming to our YouTube channel at Move Up with Mike, michaelglass.com. Let's go ahead and get started. As always, we'd like to start off with our disclosure, and in simple, it says trade at your own risk. This is your decision, this is your money, this is your life. Anything that you see is for educational purposes. You can lose money, trade at your own risk. So this is our review of the week in terms of the stock market. So we're going to look at what impacted the market in terms of the economic calendar. We're going to pull up some charts and identify some key support and resistance level, and then we have an education spotlight at the end. You guys know I always like to start off with a little quote, and Paul Sampson said, "Investing should be more like watching paint dry or watching the grass grow." And that's the hardest thing for me and a lot of people that I work with. You know, a successful trader trades 2 or 3 times a day because a successful trader defines who they are as a trader, and then they only trade that. And the hardest part for me is to just sit on hands and wait for my setups. You get caught up sometimes, especially if you miss one, and then you start chasing a little bit. So, you have to understand the discipline and the emotional stability. I always tell people trading's not hard, discipline is. So when we look at the week that was, we can basically see that the majority of our markets did end down for the week. Dow down 300, not for the week, for the day. Nasdaq was 100. S&P was down 38 points. Again, what's crazy is that usually that's a week, and these things are happening in a day. But if you look over here to the right, you can see for the year, the Dow is down 27%, the Nasdaq's down 18%, and the S&P is down 23%. All of them were down about 2% for the week. However, we can see gold and crude are both up. For the week, however, crude is down, look at that, 56% for the year. 56% for this week, crude hit the teens. I personally didn't think we would ever hit the teens. But we do know that the Saudis and Russia are having a little tiff, and that's really what, of course, the virus sent the market down, and then Saudi Arabia got in a little thing with Russia and sent crude down even further, which is why you see 56% versus the 20% the rest of the market is down. So, what were some key things that happened this week? Of course, the market is still down, but due to COVID-19. Last week we saw the market kind of go up and stabilize a little bit due to the passing of the COVID-3, the third bill, in the effort to stop the effects of COVID-19. And you can see here, I can say crude had the best 2 day run probably ever, maybe even that 2 day equated into the best week ever for crude. And this happened on Thursday. President Trump announced that he had spoken both to the Saudis and to Russia, and they were going to cut back crude. And literally, crude went up $5 in about 5 seconds. It was like boom, and then it pulled back a little bit. And Friday it ended up, as you saw, over 3 points. So that was really based to what the president said. Now, what's important about that is there is a meeting this week, and we'll see if what he said actually comes to pass. I don't think there was anything else really that important that happened this week. In terms of overseas and corporate, we did see last week we had 3 million people file for unemployment. This week it doubled to 6 million people have filed for unemployment. And then on Friday, the payroll numbers showed that for March we lost 700,000 jobs. They expect the next one to be even worse. This is just the beginning effects of the virus. So this week, what we'll be watching for on the economic calendar, I have Delta down here. Not that Delta moves the market, but this is going to be our first earnings report of somebody heavily impacted by the virus talking about the effects of the virus. As we know, the airline industry, there is a portion of the bill that was passed last week to help the airline industry, the hospitality industry, but the airline. So this will be the first earnings report, the call where someone that's heavily impacted by the virus can speak to that. So I'm sure some people are going to pay attention. On Wednesday, OPEC is meeting, and that, of course, we've got the Wednesday crude number. But Wednesday, we will see if what the president said about people cutting back 10,000 barrels each is actually going to be announced. Both countries themselves said that it's not true, but that hasn't really been looked at. So we will see OPEC meeting on Wednesday. Thursday again, we have more unemployment numbers, and so we went from 3 million to 6 million. So what will this Thursday be? CPI on Friday, but to me the big thing is going to be Thursday unemployment numbers, and then also Wednesday for crude, what OPEC says about whether or not they are going to cut back. So let's go ahead and pull up the charts. Okay, so here we are looking at our charts, and we're going to start off with the S&P 500, our futures contract. And one of the things we talked about last week was this downtrend line, very sharp downtrend line. It follows, I believe, Google, and it pretty much held. We did pop up a little bit above it, but we did kind of saw. I think this 2400 level and right above up here, kind of in the 2450 level, is going to be important. But you can see there's a lot of wicks right in here, a lot of candles right here. They kind of go through it, and you can see the wicks right in here. So that's why I'm basically saying the 2400 level should be interesting as we come down in this wedge. Obviously, we got the swing low all the way down here at 2100. So we'll see what happens. What's going to be our catalyst? I think what we're going to do at this point in time, as I mentioned last week, is the market's going to hang out. They want to continue to see if the government does more to kind of soften the effects of the sorry about my Facebook little page right there. If the government's going to do more, and more importantly, until we're out of these stay-at-home notices by many governors, many states, until that's over with, means the economy can't really move forward, and so there's no real reason for people to send the market shooting higher. So once these stay-at-home orders come off, I think you might see the market start to stabilize. But until then, I think we are gonna be in a zone. So you're gonna watch the top here at 2620, and we're gonna watch the low around here again, 2400, 2300. See what happens. See where this base is gonna happen at until we can get out of the stay-at-home notices. All right, so let's switch over to gold. See, gold is in a nice range here. Yes, I know I have a very wide range, and if you want to, you can draw in something here around the 1550s. I think we talked about that last time. If you're so inclined, you can draw this in there. But because it was such, we moved down so quick, and we moved right through this 1550 so quickly, I didn't draw it in there. But again, trend lines, support resistance line, it's an art. So if you like it, draw it in there. What's important is to note that we are starting to base above that 1550 level, 1575, and we could start to see gold start to same thing. It's going to start channeling. It's a safety, in terms of the COVID effect. So that's why it's up. So we start to see gold start to cycle, and you should start trading that channel as we continue to move in this environment. Let's move over to crude. So there's that big drop, and then there's our big 2-day move, which made the week great for crude. And what's important is this gap down. Again, this is when the Saudis said that in addition to the effects of COVID, the Saudis talked about what was going on with them in Russia, and this was that big drop there. So that's you got a top here of 36. The actual gap is 32, 33 level. So as we're coming up here now at 28, that's something we want to watch. Are we going to fill this gap? Um, or will this, become resistance as we again begin to channel? Again, I really do believe we're going to see some channeling until the stay-at-home orders are lifted. Let's go to our FANG. So let's start off with Facebook. So Facebook, you could say the downtrend line that started, it violated a little bit. It went up a little bit more, but again, here we are coming right back down. So we're going to watch 140 for the bottom of this as we start to channel. We want to watch 140, and we're going to watch up to the 170 level. Amazon much sooner went past that downtrend line that was there, and now it's sitting in the middle. So I have a wide range of 2040 all the way down to 1720. I can, again, if you want to draw yourself a line in here at 1837, have at it. Maybe even a little bit lower at around 1820, 1818. If you want to draw a line here, sure. And then again, what am I saying? Watch the consolidation, trade the top, trade the bottom. Apple. The thing about Apple, if I switch this back over to trend line, let's take a look at it. So that one's a little bit further out. However, if we come over here and then bring it down, looks like the same as the S&P 500, doesn't it? Maybe a little support here in your 2035 price level. Of course, you want to watch all the way down. Maybe right here to the 2033, 233. I say 233. Got a little something going on right there. In fact, I will switch over horizontal, and let's draw that in there. Again, as the market starts to consolidate and channel, watch that price level. FANG, F-A-A-N, is Netflix. Netflix really not showing the same sell-off that the rest of the market has. And so here's our channel. We weren't able to make a new high. So we weren't able to go up there and test the 390, which of course makes sense in this market. Why would we be testing the highs? However, it did push up right there. So now we got to watch, some sort of a downtrend line starting to happen. But we can see, can we stay above 360? And if not, can we stay above 330, 336, and also 319? Let me draw that in there, 319. Okay. And finally, Google. Google's honoring that downtrend that the rest of the market is in. We've got some support in here. That's why we kind of stopped right here. You can see a little gap right in here. So that's why we actually are holding on. You can look at all the wicks right here at this 1100, 1095 range. That matches up with this gap up right here. So we probably really want to stay above that, or may retest lows all the way down here to 1010. But again, what is my theme for today? A channel. I think the market is going to consolidate until the stay-at-home orders are lifted. So you might be saying to yourself, why am I listening to this guy? So I did want to take a quick moment and show you guys. This was my Top Step results for their combine. This was step 2. You had to make $53,000, and you can see I basically did that in 5 days. 4 out of 5 days were winning days. And then after that, you can do what is called their pro account, where you had to make $5,000, and you can see I did that in 3 days. no losing days. But I'm going to explain a little bit more about that in a moment. I want to go to our education spotlight, but I basically want to help you do the same thing that I did. But let's go to our education spotlight first. Okay, so now it's time to look at our education spotlight. And today we're going to talk about delta. Delta. So the obvious question is, what is delta and how can we use it in our trading? So delta is the total sum of the difference between our ask volume and the bid volume. And a lot of times you'll see people have delta at the bottom of their charts, and green means more buyers or per bar, again depending on your time frame and what you're looking at. Green means there are more buyers, more bid volume versus ask volume, and then red means there was more ask volume, there were more sellers. And it's important because it can show us who's in control. And when you should look at it, well, you should look at it all the times, but you really should look at it when you come to your key price levels, when you're about to make a trading decision. Whether you make trading decisions at price levels, you want to see, if you're going to trade a reversal, well, when we get to that key price level, are buyers in control or sellers in control? You don't want to go against the momentum. So delta helps us stay on the right side. So I always, take a peek at it. For me, when I get to key price levels that I'm looking at to see this is where I want to engage with the market. Because again, remember our first quote, trading and investing is supposed to be like watching paint dry. So you're supposed to sit and wait. And when you get to those places where you want to get involved with the market, take a look at delta and see who's in control. So as I mentioned last week, we are going to do a trading room. We're going to take a look at helping people pass their combines or the gauntlet. We're going to focus on a gauntlet. TopStat is trying to change their rules a little bit for the funded traders. They're not letting people trade the whole time, and that can affect it. It affected me a little bit. So I'm also want to make sure people are aware of the gauntlet. Earn to Trade. They also have, and you can trade. You can even trade through nudes with the gauntlet. So we're going to start a trading room. So make sure you sign up michaelglass.com trading-room. And to sign up for the gauntlet, michaelglass.com gauntlet. Basically, we're just going to let people come in the room. It's going to be free. Let me say that I guess I should put that on there next time. I'll make sure I do that. It's going to be free. Just want to help people and build a community and go from there. So on all your social media, you can find me at Move Up with Mike. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you next time.